If you're a content creator, podcaster, or a streamer, you know how important it is to get great audio. The Maono PD300X promises studio quality sound at a price that won't break the bank. But is it worth it? Well, today we're going to be deep diving into everything you need to know about this microphone before you hit add to cart. But spoiler alert, you're going to want to stick around for the mic test. So first things first, I have covered other Maono products in the past, but this one by far surprised me in its build quality. The Maono PD300X looks and feels actually premium when it comes to the actual overall build quality of the microphone and its shock mount. With it, you got a all metal body that's surprisingly lightweight but sturdy. The design is minimalistic and professional, but you also have it perfect for content creators who want a clean setup that's a dynamic microphone, so it's built in to focus on your voice and block out background noise. There is actually a bonus with this microphone that we've been seeing with a lot of budget microphones, and that's being able to use USB and XLR connections. You can use it right out the box or upgrade your setup later, which again is a bonus. It features a gain knob as well as a mute button right on the mic for a quick adjustment. But trust me, these little details matter when you're live streaming or doing a recording session. Setup is a breeze. You can plug it via USB and you're good to go. No drivers required. If you want a little bit more advanced control and you want to use it with XLR, it's compatible with audio interfaces that allow you to hook up XLR microphones. Plus, you get access to Maono's link if you want to use it with the USB connection, where you can fine tune your microphone. And whether you're adjusting just the EQ or adding some compression, the software is super intuitive, and it's actually way better than the software when I checked out the Maono PD200X, which I just recently shipped off to a friend of mine. Now I kind of wish I waited for the PD300X to ship it off to him, because the software control on this microphone is actually crazy. And it looks like they've been taking my feedback, because I've been having issues with Maono, just to being transparent, as far as dealing with their social media representatives. And I just don't know if it's just a breakdown in communication or whatever, but it hasn't felt the most professional. But dealing with them and getting this microphone and seeing other people's reviews and looking at the software, it looks like we're at least heading in the right direction. So I'm glad I was able to get this for a review. All right, so let's get to the part you've been waiting for, the sound quality. Here's what the Maono PD300X sounds like raw with no processing. All right, so for the Maono PD300X, this is what the software looks like with the actual Maono Link software. What you have to do is go to the website and you can pick on the microphone that you picked, and you scroll down and you'll see a downloads tab for the software. You'll click on that and then you'll pick the corresponding microphone that you have. There are other microphones listed that you can purchase from them, and XLR interfaces and everything like that. But I think every single software is going to be different, because some of the microphones have USB connections. They also have RGB built into them. So they're going to have a section for the RGB lighting, like I've seen with the Maono Link software for the PD200X. I'm not sure if the software is still the same or it got the quality of life improvements like the Maono PD300X has in its software. But I no longer have that microphone. I gave it to a friend of mine who potentially needs that kind of microphone, because he didn't have any other microphone that had software capabilities. And that microphone was the only one I had that was USB, that didn't need an XLR interface to get decent sound quality out of it. I kind of wish I would have waited and got this microphone, did a review, and then sent it out to him, because I think it's good with the software, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But what's on offer here, as you can see under the basic tab, you do have the gain, which I bumped up a little bit from the previous raw testing. And then you have all the other audio monitoring and improvements and stuff like that you can do, noise gate, all that stuff. And based it on the mic monitoring, I didn't notice really a delay that would trip me up as far as listening to myself talk. I know that's important to some people, but like I say in all my microphone testing, I do not listen to my voice while I'm recording or live streaming. I usually check that stuff before I do. So it's just kind of weird to me that people want to listen to their voice, even if it's at a lower volume, to hear what's going on and all that stuff. If I need to, then I'll listen to my live streams, or I'll click on the headphones or wherever with the Beacon software, listen to it for a little bit, and then, go back to whatever I'm doing. But actively listening to it while you record or live stream, it's just kind of weird to me. I don't know. It's just not something that I do. So I don't understand why people have a problem with a little bit of latency or something like that. But just from my testing and somebody who doesn't do it often, I didn't notice any kind of great latency or a problem or issue like it was going to trip me up while talking. But some people have that skill. Some people don't. Some people, I forgot what it's called, but when they're listening to herself and there's a slight delay, it trips them up in talking and their words and everything. I didn't notice it with this microphone. Doesn't happen to me. I don't have that issue. But at the same time, I don't think you could take my word for it because that's not a practice that I do. So again, take it with a grain of salt. It is what it is. Other than that, let's go ahead and jump into the advanced tab where this microphone really shines with the USB connection. All right, so as you can see over here, we have different sets or presets from the manufacturer. I like the mid boost. That's just me because I have a deep, muddy voice and I like to accent that when it comes to microphones. Some people don't like it, so we'll go through what's available here. You have the flat, and this is the way it sounds, just flat, meaning nothing's really done to the microphone at all. You have the low cut, again, gets rid of those early low cut rumbles and stuff like that. Again, you can look up on YouTube EQ, like wavelengths and settings and all that stuff to figure out what these actually really mean. But if you're looking into microphones, you probably should be already doing your research on EQ bands and all that stuff. And I'm not an audio engineer or somebody who really can deep dive into this kind of stuff. So you're probably going to have to watch another review anyways. And on top of that, you probably should be doing that anyways to be able to make an informed decision on your purchase, not just watching one video review and, going from there. Again, be a smart consumer. With that being said, we're going to move over to the low cut, and I'm guessing this is a mid boost. Again, this window cannot be resized. This is one of the downsides. I would say Maono needs to push this with a firmware update, being able to maximize or change the size of the window. This is pretty much what you get, and I blew it up in OBS just by changing the scene or whatever, because I'm window capturing to make it big so you guys can see. So yeah, it's not fun. Up top, you can see a little add there, so you can add a new preset and then you can delete it and you can go in and change some things. But this is the original sound. You can't even change this original. It won't let you make changes. You have to make your own preset. I don't get it. Down below, you have a compressor, and this is what it says. If you need to pause and read it, that's what a compressor does. And then you go over here to a limiter. Again, pause and read if you need to, and that's what a limiter does. Now let's go ahead and jump into the actual, I would say, more advanced tab that actually can be maximized and resized for whatever reason, but this window can't. It's stupid. All right, so here we are in the more advanced tab, I would say, to be able to mess with the EQ bands. It's pretty much standard what you would see here. Unfortunately, there doesn't look like a tutorial or like question marks to really explain what any of this does. And again, I'm not a sound engineer, so I'm not going to be able to walk you through every single frequency and touching every EQ band, because I'm pretty sure that this is going to change how my microphone sounds right now. So I'm going to try not to touch anything. I don't know if it already has changed some stuff, but you can see that you get some options under each EQ band where you can change them. You can grab any of the EQ bands, and hopefully that didn't do too much of anything, but you can grab them, change them around. Obviously you have, the different kind of cuts for it. You have, just a natural roll off. You have a sharp cut that you can, EQ the microphone out, like certain sounds. Like if you have too much, I would say wind or a certain frequency in your room tone that you want to cut out, you can, click on one of these and you can change the band structure. So it could be like this, it can be like that. And then you could do something like this and change them around. And then you can do, fully cut out and everything. You can definitely change up a lot here. And you can do that precisely with every single frequency range. So you can really customize and dial in the settings you want for your microphone. But this would be to somebody who doesn't like the presets that are already there from the manufacturer, as well as somebody who's had this microphone or have had microphones in the past like this for a little bit and they know what they're doing and they're watching probably a tutorial while doing this. That's what I would suggest, instead of just jumping in here and tweaking stuff on your own. Because again, it might sound good to you, but to your viewers or, your following subscribers, whatever, it might not sound good. So I would suggest watching a tutorial on how to set up EQ bands and what to look for as far as trying to scoop stuff out, bring up the highs, cut the mids, all that stuff, to really hone in and know what you're doing, so you don't get a gobbledygook mess with your audio recordings. But again, I think most people would just be able to pick from the presets that Maono already has, use that for a while, and then upgrade their microphone in the future, or go back in here after a while and they've learned a little bit and grown with the microphone, after having it for a bit, and be able to dial in their settings a little bit more once they get a grasp and understanding of messing with EQ waveforms. I will go ahead and say that the Maono PD300X, in my personal opinion, is a really good, decent microphone for the cost. The build quality over the Fine one, even though they look eerily similar, it's a more premium feeling microphone. I have to give kudos to Maono for coming at Fine and making, the style microphone, since this is one of their most popular ones, eerily similar to each other. And what the Maono PD300X has over the Fine K688, even though it's still my favorite microphone out there as far as budget, or under $100, the fact that you have the USB port and you have that software, and the software is fairly fleshed out, that's really a welcome addition to quality of life for their microphones. Hopefully that expands over all their microphones. I'm liking the updated quality here on the microphone, as far as from the build quality and the software being more fleshed out. The XLR port quality, it's good, it's nice, but keep in mind, I am having a $250 XLR interface to go with it. My takeaway from it is these cheap budget friendly microphones that are under $100 or at $100, 9 times out of 10, unless they're from a reputable brand like the Rode Pod mic or something like that that's known for audio, I would suggest not getting a XLR interface under $100. I would stick between $100 to $300 for entry level XLR interfaces, just to make it make sense. Because at this point, with this microphone in particular having USB software, it would make no sense to not use the software and then get a $50 audio interface for XLR, and then you don't have stuff like a limiter, a compressor, all the other tweaks and stuff like that, because most of the time those XLR interfaces don't have software and they don't really have that much controls on it. So then you're going to introduce all the echoing and room ambiency noise and all that stuff or whatever, and then in your editing software you're gonna have to take all that stuff out or apply those VSTs and plugins to OBS if you're live streaming. It kind of defeats the purpose. So I would just stick to the USB ports until I found a XLR interface that had software built in to be able to do all the stuff that the USB software does, or at least additional software on your PC or wherever that you can run. But overall, like I said, I am happy to say that Maono has impressed me here based off of all the other devices that they send out for a review, which I don't really like any of them, to be honest, and just to be frank. And this one is something that's like, okay, you got my respect now. Would I still recommend their microphones to like my personal friends and stuff like that? At $100, yes, the USB software is nice, but typically, even with this stuff, XLR frequencies and XLR cables and stuff like that are typically just way better. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there's probably thousands upon hundreds of content creators out there that are still using USB microphones. Some of them have software like the Shure MV7. You have other, companies out there that have USB microphones like the Beacon mic, that have software and stuff like that. So, that's something that's argumentative as far as like, is XLR still better than USB? But in my personal opinion, it's just depending on the quality and what you're looking for. So yes, I think the USB with the software and this microphone is going to be serviceable. I think it's probably the only real dynamic microphone out there that's at this price point that has accompanying software like this, because the only other mics that come into my knowledge as far as being USB and having software and being around $100 is the stuff from Elgato, as far as like their Neo set and all that stuff. But those are not dynamic microphones. And I should stress that most content creators out there use dynamic microphones, even if they have a software or XLR interface, because 9 times out of 10, new content creators or people who don't know and haven't done their research, they're not getting acoustic treatment for their room and stuff like that. They're gonna have a lot of echo, they're gonna have a lot of background noise, AC kicking on, whatever it may be. The pets, significant others, children, and all that stuff is going to go into your live streams, your recordings, all that stuff. Even though those microphones tend to have a natural tone from your voice back into your vocals, a dynamic microphone is going to cut out that stuff, but then you can EQ it to bring it back in, and the highlights, the mids, the lows, whatever. So again, it's out there doing research and knowing what you're supposed to be doing as a content creator anyways. again, I can't stress this enough. If you are going to use this microphone and then get a XLR interface in the future, go with something, again, that's not 60, 50, 80 bucks or 100 bucks. I would stress to go from 150 up. I don't think these microphones are supposed to be used for podcasts. They're just content creator, like voiceover microphones or live streams. I wouldn't use any of the microphones that I have for a sit down podcast like that. If I'm having multiple guests, the only ones I would probably use if I was in a pinch is the Shure MV7X. Or if I had another Beacon microphone or wherever, I would do that, because at least I can tweak it and save it to the actual microphone itself, even though I don't personally like the sound of it, but I've been told people like the sound of it. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would do that, but I would not use this microphone for podcasts. It's just those highlight buzzwords. So when you look this up on the internet or on Amazon, these microphones pop up, but they're not usable for podcasts. I would stick to Audio Technica, Lewitt, Rode, Mackie microphones, like Shure microphones, those kind of audio companies, because that's what they do. And that are obviously more, I would say, reputable in that space. And there's a reason why they stay at the top, and these microphones from these companies stay at the bottom, in my personal opinion. Again, do with that information what you will. Again, this is all subjective. This is just my opinion. I can be completely wrong. That is fine. I already know I'm going to receive hate for this video. There's going to be people disliking and leaving negative comments. It is what it is. I do, like I said, recommend this microphone if you're going to use the USB port and use the software until you can save up for a practical, makes sense XLR interface that's not, below $100. All right, so let's go back to Passquid with the rest of the recorded script. As you can see, there is a difference. The PD300X delivers warm, clear audio, and it's because it's a dynamic microphone with a fantastic job of minimalizing background noise, ideal for content creators in less than perfect recording spaces like mine. It's very echoey. And if you're interested in the microphone in comparison to all the other microphones that I have, there will be a link in the description comparing this microphone to every last one that I own. It will be an unlisted video, so let me know your thoughts there. So who is the Maono PD300X for? If you're a content creator, podcaster, or even a streamer looking for a budget-friendly microphone with pro-level features, this is a decent solid pick. But if you already own a high-end microphone, or you're looking at one that's already way better than this one, and you're looking to get a better XLR interface that's going to be somewhat out of budget-friendly territory, then this might not be a huge upgrade for you. So here's a quick recap. The pros: dual connection with a USB and XLR. Great sound for the price, and it's easy to set up. The shock mount does feel very premium. The microphone does feel very premium, and the capsule does sit further back, so you are getting that. But the fact of the controls on top of the microphone, the mute button is not a capacitive mute button like you get on the Fine K688. It is a little mushy. It kind of reminds me of a membrane keyboard. If anybody knows how that feels, it just doesn't feel good. And on top of that, the knob for the gain adjustment is on top of the microphone. I prefer it like the Fine K688, where it's at the back, so the front and whatever's actually on your screen when you're streaming or something like that from the side, you don't have this big knob sticking out. It's just kind of like a aesthetic thing for me, but the knob does the job. I just kind of wish that it was at the back of the microphone. That's just a personal, I would say, preference, but the con still exists with the mushy mute button. I wonder over time, is it gonna really hold up? If you're one of those people that have to constantly mute your microphone for whatever reason, you're probably better off just making a Windows hotkey if you're using it for USB, or muting the mic through the XLR connection, obviously on your actual XLR interface. But again, if you're using the USB connection, find a Windows hotkey or something like that, MicroPad, whatever it is, and mute it through there. I would not use that mute button on top of it. But everything else about the microphone does feel kind of premium over the Fine K688. But the Fine K688 does have other color options, and it looks nice, especially in white. But the Maono here, I have to 100% say that it looks fantastic in comparison to the Maono PD200X. I kind of flamed that microphone just because of the color mismatch, the overall plasticky and just non-premium feeling, or even budget-friendly feeling microphone. That one felt like you went to a Dollar Tree and paid $1 for it. This one actually feels like you're getting somewhat your money's worth. I was very, very surprised taking the microphone out the box. But again, the only con that I would actually say is the fact of that mute button at the top is very, very mushy. Doesn't feel like it's going to last over time. Again, if you're going to constantly click it. So with all that being said, the Maono PD300X is proof that you don't need to spend a fortune to get audio studio quality sound. The thing about it is that there's so many options out there nowadays that it's hard to pick which one to go with. So again, I will reference all the microphones that I have done comparisons in the past down in the description. Definitely check out that video and make an informed decision before you pick up this microphone or potentially another one. If you are ready to upgrade your audio game, then this microphone just might be your favorite piece of gear. There's other USB microphones. Obviously, you'll pay a little bit more for those premium features and stuff. But if you're streaming and you're taking it seriously, and maybe you don't want to get an XLR interface for any reason, you do have the Elgato Wave microphones that are out there, the Neo and the Wave 3, and you do have the Beacon microphone out there. I do have my own thoughts and opinions and negatives about those microphones. But again, at least with those microphones, you come with software and it's a little bit more intuitive and I would say new user friendly than having a full-blown suite in the software with this microphone, again, which is a welcome godsend in comparison to the PD200X software. But you're gonna have to sit there for longer, I feel like, setting up the software with a microphone like this than you would have to with those other competing microphones that I mentioned from Elgato and Beacon. So it's kind of like pick your poison, which one's the right for you. Do your research, make an informed decision before you go out and purchase and use your money, because that's the whole point of this channel. So hopefully I was able to help somebody out in a certain way. But if you are dead set on this microphone, don't forget to check out the link in the description and grab yours today. And while you're there, hit that like button and subscribe for more budget-friendly gear reviews. And I'll see everyone in the next one. Y'all take care. Have a squid-tastic day. God bless you and yours. And deuces, everybody. Much love.